is there a criteria to choose when to use while, if, or try except? Yes. If you have to iterate and you don't know how many times you have to iterate, just use while. You use if you want to check some condition. For instance, if this happens, then do something else. Or if this value is greater than whatever, do tal. And try except is just to capture errors, Python errors, problems caused by the user. So you don't have to think, should I use while or if? Should I use while or try except? You have to, you cannot use one or the other. They are for different things. So they are completely different concepts. In this case, I want to keep asking until the user gives me a valid number. That's a while. You cannot do this with an if. An if will only be executed once. So if I want to keep doing it until the number is okay, then I need to do some loop, use some loop. In this case, a while, because I don't know how many times I will have to ask the user for an input. I will ask a million times if necessary. So I use a while. Moreover, I want to make sure that the user doesn't write anything that is not an integer, because it will make my program crash. So to avoid the program crashing, I'm using try except. It doesn't make sense to use an if, because an if will only check if the value is greater or equal, or different than, or equal to, but it doesn't make sense to check if it fails or not, because it will fail anyway. So you can only use a try except. Yeah? So in every input we should use a try except? Yes and no. You should use a try except whenever you know it's possible that your program crashes. So when can your program crash? When you're using a division by zero, for instance, when you're trying to cast a string to int, when you're trying to cast a string that has commas or dots into an integer, this kind of stuff can happen. And you have to know it. You have to understand that users can write something that you're not expecting, and this can cause your program to crash. And this is not something that we will allow in this course. So if you know that you're asking the user for something, and you know that you want to cast this to an integer, you should use a try except. You have to. So in this case, we should do this. Wait, let me write it again. I already told you that we have to write here the number of columns, which is 3, or in a better way, len matrix. Yes? This way we have a 3 here, which is the length of the matrix, which is 3, because we have 3 elements in this list, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then we ask what column to the user. The problem is, even if I do it this way, when the user asks me, what column do you want? If it's negative, it will ask me again. If it's greater than the length of the matrix, for instance, column 4, it will ask me again. The problem is, if I write A, it will crash. The while is not going to help me with this problem, with this value error. The if is not going to help me with this problem. The only thing that will help me is a try except. So I can just do something like try except. Try this. Try it. If this doesn't happen, this fails for some reason, it's because of this cast, say it. So the same print that we used before. The cast to int failed for some reason. Yes? So remember, this except has nothing to do with the value of what column. This except will only be executed if this cast fails, because the input is never going to fail. This will always work, no matter what we write. What will fail, because of a value error, is the cast to int. Yes? So this while is controlling that we are choosing a column that is valid, that is between the first column and the last column. And this except is what will be executed if the cast to integer fails. So now, if I write a negative number, the while won't allow it. Won't allow me to go and change that value. So it won't fail. Okay, -0. Okay, -0 is the same as 0, and I allow this. I'm not very smart, as you can see. What column? I never initialized what column. Let me write it here. What column? Let's say it's -1, so it enters the loop. Yeah, thank you, Sylvie. As you can see, I forget things as well, but I'm always trying to improve. So if I write a negative number, the while will forbid me to go and change this value, because this with a -5 here would fail. If I write here a number that is too big, because we don't have that many columns, the while would prevent me to go and change that column. If I write a column that is between 0 and length of the matrix, which is 3, in fact, this will fail because we can check this. See, if I pick 3, what column is not greater than the length of the matrix? Length of the matrix is 3, but we don't have position 3. So if I use this, it will fail. It will tell me, okay, this index is out of range, because I cannot allow 3. I can only allow up to 2, because we have column 0, 1, and 2. So now it should work. And another problem that we can have in this input, not in the input, but in the cast, is if the user writes something that is not an integer. Then the try would tell me, okay, this failed, but it's not a problem. Let's just print this, and then the while would ask me again, would make me ask again, okay, please, what column do you want? And I can fail no matter how many times, and I can fail for different reasons. The point is, my program is not going to crash, which is something that we don't want. So if I write a column that is okay, for instance, I write column 2, this means I'm going to pick the third column. Remember, which row is always equal to 3, so it will change this value to 0. Ta-da, here it is.